Welcome back to Stamps Old World UK. Today we are exploring a fascinating United States postage stamp that has become a favorite among collectors around the world. If you enjoy learning about classic stamps, their history, their printing varieties, and their current market value, then this video is for you. Today we will take a close look at the beautiful 15-cent Oliver Wendell Holmes commemorative stamp. We will discuss who Oliver Wendell Holmes was, why this stamp was issued, its design, printing details, rarity, condition factors, and most importantly, how much it is worth in today's stamp market. Make sure you stay until the end, because I will also share some valuable collecting tips that could help you discover whether a similar stamp in your collection is worth just a few cents or several dollars. The stamp you see here is the United States 15-cent Oliver Wendell Holmes commemorative stamp. At first glance, it may appear to be just another ordinary vintage postage stamp, but every stamp has a story to tell. This stamp honors one of the greatest legal minds in American history, Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. He served as an Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court for nearly 30 years and became famous for his influence on American constitutional law. His opinions continue to be studied by law students, historians, and judges even today. The United States Postal Service recognized his remarkable contributions by issuing this attractive commemorative stamp featuring his portrait. The portrait on this stamp is beautifully engraved, using the traditional line engraving process that was common for United States stamps during the 20th century. The deep reddish-purple color gives the stamp a classic appearance that collectors admire. The detailed engraving highlights Holmes's distinctive mustache, serious expression, and formal attire, making this one of the more recognizable portraits in American philately. The large 15-cent denomination printed in the upper left corner also makes the stamp visually appealing, especially for collectors who specialize in higher denomination commemorative issues. This stamp was issued in 1968 as part of the Prominent Americans series. The series honored important Americans who made lasting contributions in politics, science, literature, law, education, medicine, and public service. Many famous personalities appeared in this series, making it one of the most popular definitive stamp collections produced by the United States Post Office Department. Unlike commemorative stamps that are printed for a limited period, definitive stamps like this one were printed in larger quantities because they were intended for everyday postal use. That means millions of copies were produced, but surviving examples in exceptional condition are still highly sought after by collectors. The stamp carries a face value of 15 cents, which represented an important postal rate during its period of use. At the time it was issued, 15 cents paid for specific postal services, making it an important working stamp in everyday American mail. Countless letters, legal documents, business correspondence, and international mail pieces traveled across the country bearing this very design. Every used copy tells a story of communication during the late 1960s and early 1970s. One of the most interesting aspects of stamp collecting is learning how stamps were manufactured. This Oliver Wendell Holmes stamp was produced by the Bureau of Engraving and Printing using the engraved printing method. Engraved stamps are admired because of their sharp lines and fine detail. If you gently tilt the stamp under a light or examine it with magnification, you can often appreciate the raised ink created during the engraving process. This level of craftsmanship is one reason engraved United States stamps remain highly respected among collectors worldwide. Now let us discuss condition, because condition is one of the biggest factors affecting market value. If your stamp has bright original color, sharp perforations, centered design, and clean gum on the back if it is unused, it will command a higher price than one with faults. Collectors carefully inspect whether the perforations are complete, whether there are tears, creases, stains, fading, thins, or heavy cancellations. Even a common stamp can become much more desirable if it is preserved in superb condition. Centering is another major factor. Stamp collectors often judge how evenly the design sits within the perforated margins. A perfectly centered stamp, with equal margins on all four sides, is considered much more attractive than one where the design is shifted toward one edge. Professional grading services can assign numerical grades, and exceptionally high-grade examples often sell for many times the value of average copies. Now let us talk about today's market value. which is the question many collectors ask first. A used Oliver Wendell Holmes 15-cent stamp in average condition generally sells for around 25 cents to $1. A clean used example, with an attractive cancellation and excellent centering, may sell for $1 to $3 depending on demand. An unused mint example with original gum typically ranges from $1 to $5. Never hinged mint examples in excellent condition may reach $5 to $15, especially if they have outstanding centering and fresh color. Professionally graded examples with exceptionally high grades can sometimes sell for $25, $50, or even more when offered through specialized philatelic auctions. While these higher prices are not common, they demonstrate how condition can dramatically influence the value of an otherwise common stamp. Collectors should also remember that stamps sold individually often bring lower prices than those included in specialized collections or complete series. If you own the full prominent American series in matching condition, the complete set may attract stronger interest from collectors than a single stamp alone. Complete collections often receive premium prices because buyers appreciate acquiring an entire series at once. Another factor affecting value is whether the stamp has unusual varieties. Printing errors, missing colors, dramatic misperforations, double impressions, or production flaws can significantly increase value. Although such varieties are rare, they always deserve careful examination. If you believe your stamp has an unusual characteristic, it is worth consulting an experienced stamp dealer or obtaining a professional expert certificate before making any decisions about selling it. The popularity of United States classic and modern stamps continues to grow as new collectors enter the hobby every year. Online marketplaces, stamp auctions, collector clubs, and philatelic exhibitions have made buying and selling stamps easier than ever before. However, collectors should always compare recent selling prices rather than relying solely on old catalog values, because the market changes over time based on supply, demand, and collector interest. If you discover this stamp in an old family album, do not rush to remove it carelessly. Always use proper stamp tongs rather than your fingers, because natural skin oils can damage delicate paper and reduce collector value. Store stamps in acid-free albums or archival quality stockbooks to preserve their condition for future generations. Proper storage is one of the easiest ways to protect the value of any stamp collection. Many beginners believe that every old stamp is automatically valuable, but experienced collectors know that rarity, demand, condition, centering, gum quality, cancellation quality, and authenticity all work together to determine market price. Even though this Oliver Wendell Holmes stamp was printed in large numbers, premium quality examples remain desirable because collectors appreciate beautiful engraved American stamps and the historical importance of the individual portrayed. Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. left an extraordinary legacy in American legal history, and this stamp serves as a lasting tribute to his remarkable career. Every time collectors examine this stamp, they are reminded not only of a famous Supreme Court justice, but also of an era when engraved postage stamps represented some of the finest examples of miniature art. The combination of history, craftsmanship, and collecting enjoyment is what makes Philately such a rewarding hobby. Whether your example is worth a few cents or several dollars, every stamp has historical significance that cannot be measured only by its market price. The joy of collecting comes from discovering stories behind these tiny works of art, learning about the people they honor, and preserving them for future generations. Sometimes the greatest treasure is not the most expensive stamp, but the knowledge gained while building a collection. Next up, the United States 15-cent John Jay postage stamp. Whether you are a beginner in stamp collecting or an experienced philatelist, this video will give you everything you need to know about this fascinating stamp. We will explore the history behind the man featured on the stamp, why it was issued, its design, printing process, collecting importance, rarity, condition factors, and most importantly, its current market value in today's stamp market. Stay with me until the very end, because I will also share valuable collecting tips that can help you identify whether the John Jay stamp in your collection is an ordinary example or one that could be worth considerably more. The stamp featured in today's video honors John Jay, one of the most important figures in the early history of the United States. John Jay was a founding father, a diplomat, a statesman, and the very first Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court. His contributions helped shape the American legal system during the country's earliest years. He also played a key role in negotiating the Treaty of Paris, which officially ended the American Revolutionary War and recognized the independence of the United States. Because of his extraordinary achievements, the United States Post Office honored him with this beautifully engraved 15-cent definitive stamp. At first glance, this stamp immediately stands out because of its elegant portrait and rich reddish-brown color. The detailed engraving captures John Jay with remarkable precision, highlighting the artistic skill of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. Every fine line in his hair, clothing, and facial features reflects the craftsmanship that made engraved United States stamps famous throughout the world. The simple but classic design gives the stamp a timeless appearance that continues to attract collectors decades after it was first issued. This stamp was issued in 1958 as part of the Liberty series, one of the most popular definitive stamp series ever produced by the United States Post Office Department. The Liberty series featured many important American historical figures, national symbols, and patriotic themes. Unlike commemorative stamps that were printed for a limited time, definitive stamps such as this John Jay issue were printed in very large quantities to meet everyday postal needs. Millions of Americans use these stamps on letters, legal documents, business correspondence, and international mail during the late 1950s and early 1960s. The 15-cent denomination represented an important postal rate during its time of use. It paid for several classes of domestic and international mail, making it a commonly used stamp in daily postal operations. Because of this widespread usage, many surviving examples today are found with postal cancellations. Finding well-preserved mint examples with original gum is generally more desirable for collectors than heavily used copies. Although attractive, postally used examples also remain popular among philatelists. One of the reasons collectors admire this stamp is the quality of its engraved printing. Engraved stamps have a unique appearance that cannot easily be reproduced by modern printing methods. Under magnification, the tiny engraved lines become clearly visible, giving the portrait depth and texture. Many collectors believe engraved stamps represent the highest standard of traditional stamp production, and the John Jay stamp is an excellent example of this remarkable printing technique. Now let us discuss one of the most important topics for every collector: the condition of the stamp. Condition has an enormous impact on market value. A stamp with bright original color, crisp perforations, no tears, no creases, no stains, and excellent centering will always command a higher price than one showing signs of damage or heavy wear. Collectors carefully examine the margins surrounding the design because evenly balanced margins greatly improve the overall appearance and desirability of a stamp. The gum on the reverse side also plays an important role for unused examples. A mint never hinged stamp, meaning the original gum has never been disturbed by a stamp hinge, is generally considered the most desirable condition. Such examples often sell for significantly higher prices than hinged mint copies. Professional grading services may assign numerical grades based on centering, freshness, and overall quality. High-grade certified examples frequently achieve premium prices at specialized stamp auctions. Now let us answer the question that most collectors want to know. What is the John Jay 15-cent United States postage stamp worth in today's market? The answer depends primarily on condition, centering, and whether the stamp is used or unused. A typical used example in average condition usually sells for between 25 cents and $1. A particularly attractive used copy with light postal cancellation and excellent centering may sell for $1 to $3. Mint hinged examples generally range from $1 to $5 depending on quality. Mint, never hinged examples with fresh gum and excellent centering often sell between $5 and $15. Exceptionally well-centered, professionally graded examples can reach $25, $50, or even higher when sold through specialized philatelic dealers or auction houses. Although these higher prices are reserved for outstanding examples, they clearly demonstrate how condition can dramatically influence market value. Collectors should remember that catalog values and actual selling prices are not always the same. Stamp catalogs provide useful guidance, but real market prices depend on collector demand, availability, auction competition, and overall economic conditions. The best way to estimate current value is by reviewing recent auction results and completed sales from reputable philatelic dealers. Another exciting aspect of collecting is searching for printing varieties and production errors. While the standard John Jay stamp is common, unusual examples with significant misperforations, dramatic shifts in printing, color variations, or other production abnormalities may attract much greater interest from collectors. Genuine production errors are relatively rare and should always be authenticated by recognized philatelic experts before being offered for sale. Many beginning collectors underestimate the importance of proper storage. Stamps should always be handled using stamp tongs rather than fingers to prevent oils and moisture from damaging the paper. High-quality stamp albums, stock books, and archival storage materials help preserve stamps for decades. Protecting your collection from sunlight, humidity, and dust will maintain both its beauty and its value. The John Jay stamp also holds an important place in thematic collecting. It is highly desirable for collectors specializing in American history, United States Supreme Court justices, founding fathers, constitutional history, engraved stamps, Liberty Series issues, and classic 20th century United States definitive stamps. Because of these multiple collecting themes, the stamp continues to enjoy steady demand among collectors worldwide. Although millions of these stamps were printed, every surviving example carries a piece of American history. Each stamp represents a period when handwritten letters formed the backbone of communication across the nation. Business contracts, personal correspondence, government documents, and family letters all traveled through the mail-bearing stamps, just like this one. Every used example tells a unique story of its own journey through history. For many collectors, the true value of the John Jay stamp extends far beyond its monetary worth. It represents the legacy of one of America's greatest legal minds, the artistic excellence of engraved stamp production, and the enduring appeal of traditional philately. Whether your stamp is worth a few cents or several dollars, it remains an important historical artifact that connects us with the people and events that shaped the United States. As stamp collecting continues to grow around the world, classic United States issues such as the John Jay 15-cent stamp remain affordable, educational, and enjoyable additions to every collection. They offer new collectors an opportunity to study history while building beautiful collections without spending large amounts of money. At the same time, advanced collectors continue searching for exceptional examples with perfect centering, original gum, and professional certification. Next up, the United States. The beautiful 15-cent Statue of Liberty postage stamp. This classic stamp is admired by collectors around the world, not only because it features one of the greatest symbols of freedom, but also because it belongs to one of the most popular definitive stamp series in American philatelic history. In this video, we will take an in-depth look at the history behind the stamp, the significance of the Statue of Liberty, the design and printing process, its place in stamp collecting, factors that affect its value, and most importantly, its current market value in today's stamp market. Stay with us until the end, because I will also share expert collecting tips that may help you determine whether the Statue of Liberty stamp in your collection is an ordinary example or one that could be worth much more than expected. The stamp you see today features the magnificent Statue of Liberty, standing proudly on Liberty Island in New York Harbor. Since its dedication in 1886, the Statue of Liberty has become one of the world's most famous monuments and a universal symbol of freedom, democracy, hope, and opportunity. The statue was a generous gift from the people of France to the United States in celebration of the friendship between the two nations and the ideals of liberty that both countries cherished. For generations of immigrants arriving by ship, the first sight of Lady Liberty represented the beginning of a new life filled with hope and possibility. Because of its enormous historical and cultural importance, the United States Post Office selected the Statue of Liberty as the central design for this beautiful, definitive stamp. This 15-cent stamp was issued in 1954 as part of the famous Liberty Series. The Liberty Series became one of the most widely used definitive stamp series in American postal history. Unlike commemorative stamps, which are printed for special occasions and often remain on sale for only a limited period, definitive stamps are produced in much larger quantities because they are intended for everyday postal use over many years. Millions of these Statue of Liberty stamps were printed and used on letters, business mail, government documents, greeting cards, and international correspondence throughout the United States during the 1950s and 1960s. One of the first things collectors notice about this stamp is its elegant black engraved design. The detailed image of the Statue of Liberty is framed by an ornate decorative border that gives the stamp a classic appearance. Across the top are the words United States postage, while the bottom displays the denomination of 15 cents. The word liberty appears beneath the statue, reinforcing the powerful symbolism behind the design. Even though the stamp is relatively simple in appearance, the fine engraved lines demonstrate the extraordinary craftsmanship of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, whose engravers produced some of the finest postage stamps in American history. The engraving process used to produce this stamp deserves special attention. Unlike modern offset printed stamps, engraved stamps are created by carefully cutting fine lines into steel printing plates. Ink fills these engraved lines before being transferred onto paper under tremendous pressure. The result is a highly detailed image with remarkable sharpness and depth. Under magnification, collectors can appreciate thousands of tiny engraved lines that combine to form the image of the Statue of Liberty. This level of craftsmanship makes engraved stamps especially popular among philatelists. The 15-cent denomination was significant during the period when this stamp was in regular postal use. It paid for certain domestic and international postal rates, making it an essential part of everyday mail service. Because millions of Americans use this stamp regularly, large numbers survive today in both used and unused condition. However, finding examples in exceptional condition remains a challenge and is one of the reasons why premium quality specimens attract greater interest from collectors. When evaluating any stamp, condition is always one of the most important factors affecting value. Collectors carefully examine the color, centering, perforations, gum, and overall appearance. A stamp with bright original color, perfectly intact perforations, and no tears, creases, stains, or thinning will always be more valuable than one showing damage or excessive wear. Even small faults can reduce market value considerably. Centering is another characteristic that experienced collectors study very carefully. A beautifully centered stamp with equal margins on all four sides is much more desirable than one where the design is shifted toward one edge. Since many stamps from this period were not perfectly centered during production, exceptionally well-centered examples are less common and often command premium prices. Unused examples are also evaluated according to the condition of the gum on the reverse side. A mint, never hinged stamp, meaning the original gum remains completely untouched, is generally considered the finest condition available. Such examples are highly desirable and usually sell for higher prices than stamps that have been previously hinged in an album. Professional grading services may certify outstanding examples, and stamps receiving very high numerical grades frequently sell for substantial premiums at specialized stamp auctions. Now let us discuss the question that every collector wants answered. What is the current market value of the 15-cent Statue of Liberty stamp today? The answer depends on several important factors, including condition, centering, gum quality, and whether the stamp is used or unused. A typical used example in average condition usually sells for approximately 25 cents to $1. A clean, lightly canceled example with excellent centering may sell for $1 to $3. Mint hinged examples generally range from $1 to $5 depending on their overall quality. Mint never hinged examples with fresh original gum and outstanding centering often sell for $5 to $15. Professionally graded examples in superb condition may achieve prices ranging from $25 to $50 or even higher through specialized stamp dealers and philatelic auction houses. Although such premium prices are uncommon, they clearly demonstrate the tremendous influence that condition has on market value. Collectors should also remember that printed catalog values are only general guides. Actual selling prices depend on collector demand, recent auction activity, dealer inventory, and overall market conditions. The most accurate estimate of current value comes from reviewing completed sales through reputable stamp auctions and established philatelic dealers, rather than relying solely on older catalog listings. One exciting aspect of stamp collecting is the search for unusual varieties and printing errors. While the standard Statue of Liberty 15-cent stamp is common, production mistakes such as dramatic misperforations, color shifts, missing perforations, double impressions, or other printing abnormalities can be much more valuable. Genuine production errors are relatively rare and should always be authenticated by recognized philatelic experts before being offered for sale. This stamp is especially popular among thematic collectors. It is collected by those interested in American history, national monuments, symbols of freedom, patriotic themes, architecture, engraved stamps, Liberty Series issues, and United States definitive stamps. Because it fits into so many collecting categories, demand has remained steady for decades, ensuring that it continues to be an attractive addition to stamp collections around the world. Proper preservation is essential for maintaining both the beauty and value of this stamp. Always handle stamps using stamp tongs rather than your fingers to avoid transferring oils and moisture to the paper. Store stamps in acid-free albums or archival quality stock books and keep them away from direct sunlight, excessive humidity, dust, and extreme temperatures. These simple precautions can help preserve a stamp's condition for many decades. Although millions of copies of this stamp were produced, every surviving example represents an important piece of postal and American history. Every used stamp tells a story of a letter that once traveled across the country or around the world. It may have carried family news, business correspondence, legal documents, holiday greetings, or messages that connected people across great distances. These everyday journeys are part of what makes stamp collecting such a fascinating and meaningful hobby. The Statue of Liberty itself remains one of the greatest symbols of hope in the world, and this stamp serves as a miniature work of art, honoring that legacy. It reminds collectors that stamps are much more than simple pieces of paper used for postage. They preserve history, celebrate national achievements, honor important landmarks, and connect generations through the stories they tell. Whether your Statue of Liberty 15-cent stamp is worth only a few cents or several dollars, it deserves a place in any collection because of its historical significance, beautiful engraving, and enduring popularity among collectors. While most examples are affordable, exceptional specimens in outstanding condition continue to attract serious collectors and achieve impressive prices in today's philatelic marketplace. Thank you for watching Stamps Old World UK. I hope you enjoyed learning about the United States 15-cent Statue of Liberty postage stamp, its remarkable history, its beautiful engraved design, and its current market value in today's stamp market. If you have this stamp in your collection, let us know where you found it and what condition it is in. Every collection has its own unique story, and every stamp connects us to an important chapter in history. If you enjoy learning about rare stamps, classic postal history, valuable collections, stamp identification, market prices, hidden treasures, and fascinating stories from the world of Philately, be sure to subscribe to Stamps Old World UK. Thank you for joining us today, happy collecting, and I look forward to seeing you again in our next exciting journey into the wonderful world of stamps.